Hey everyone, welcome to our Monday night webinar. Let's talk. So excited to be with you. My name is Jan Paxman. I'm a certified independent Optavia coach, and I'm also a registered nurse. And you guessed it, guys, tonight is Health Pros Live. And I am so pumped because we have two amazing guests that I respect and love so much. And Dr. JC Dornick and Dr. Marianne Martin. So happy to have you both with us tonight. And I know our guests all across the nation are pumped to be able to hear the answers to the questions we've got for them tonight. So first of all, I just want to introduce Dr. Marianne. She is an amazing physician. She's an endocrinologist. Her little nickname is the hormone hacker. Okay, ladies out there, and guys too, right? We got that testosterone. How many of us, put a 10 in the chat if you're excited to learn from an endocrinologist tonight? She was voted best endocrinologist in Nevada in 2024. That is seriously awesome. She's a disruptor of the traditional sick care model and guides her patients and clients to learn the power of lifestyle medicine. Oh, this girl, she's got it going on. She is married to a very handsome husband with two beautiful children, and she has a home in Las Vegas and a home in Newport Beach. She's fully mobile with her endocrinologist practice and her Optavia business because she believes in this mission so much. It aligns with what she does. So, Dr. Marianne, so happy to have you.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to have this conversation with everybody.
Oh, it's going to be great. Well, let's go ahead and introduce Dr. JC as well. I have known Dr. JC for a little bit longer, like pushing 15 years. I first met him at an event in Salt Lake City, and I was just like, wowzers, if I could ever get to meet that guy. And then we've had the pleasure of training together at Optavia events. I love him as a brother. He's awesome. Dr. JC has been coaching with Optavia for almost 20 years. So he's been in longer than me, claims that his physical, mental, and financial life has been dramatically transformed thanks to Optavia. His background is in chiropractic, where he practiced for 17 years before retiring to become a full-time Optavia health coach. He brings a nice balance of holistic and preventative approach with a focus on proper nutrition and the importance of building lean muscle mass to leverage a longer, healthier lifestyle. Did you guys hear this lifestyle thing between both of them? It's all about the lifestyle. At 53 years young, he and his lovely wife and three exceptional children, Dr. JC finds himself optimizing his health like never before. And his secret weapon, living your life around the things that matter most, or in other words, living the Optavia lifestyle. Dr. JC, we're so happy to have you.
What a pleasure to be here. Just so curious to know what everybody wants to know.
Right? Well, we had some questions after last month's episode of Health Pros Live that we kept. And so we've got a couple of those. And I'm just going to start us out by kicking a question. We'll start with Dr. JC, first of all. This is coming from Elaine. And she says this, Dr. JC, I have reached my healthy weight and BMI at 22. She's got a BMI of 22. However, my waist has never changed and is considered obese. I faithfully go to the gym with Pilates class 2 times a week. Where do I go from here? So Dr. JC, take that one.
What an interesting question that we hear so often. Just remember back when I started this program, how I wanted to just push a button and have my results be exactly the way I wanted them to be. So first, I just want to say congratulations to Elaine. I think that we sometimes bypass that when we're fielding questions. I mean, that's amazing what you did. And I'm actually, in honor of Elaine, I'm wearing this shirt tonight because what you did is in this country is abnormal, extremely abnormal. So congratulations. I think it's important to recognize when we answer questions like this that I've never met Elaine. And if I did, and this is kind of what I love about Optavia, I'd have a talk with her and I'd probably find out a lot more things about her that would help me field this question. So just understand that I'm just going to give you kind of a general answer, based on just the highlights of what I heard. So the first thing I would say is, BMI is a tool, first of all. And it's a tool that we were kind of like raised to give a lot of attention to. But when you're talking about body fat distribution, and this will kind of segue probably into Dr. Marianne, because she's going to give you some hormones tools. But, there's a lot of factors involved in it, like genetics, hormones, but also lifestyle. It's a really timely question that you're asking, Elaine, because as you can see, Optavia, and this is what I love about it, Optavia is moving into this new realm where we're really putting a focus on probably the number one predictor of longevity right now, which is lean muscle mass. So what I would say is, where do you go from here is you just continue evolving. You'll notice that there's no one size fits all program. You talk to your coach, you get in the life book. You'll notice that Dr. A talks about customizing things and tweaking things. I can tell you that I very much resonate with what you're saying, because I went through a process where I was working out like there's no tomorrow, and I was eating perfectly. I'm talking like perfect, but I couldn't get some of those stubborn areas to move like I wanted to. So what did I do is I just tweaked my program a little bit, and I focused on a little bit of increase in resistance training. That was something that I learned from Optavia. Put a high focus on protein. And what I noticed is that as I started to change my body composition, where I started to develop a little bit more lean muscle mass, some of my body parts started to smile at me. So that's what I would say, focus on your strength training. That would be something I would want to ask her. Fine tune your nutrition, work with your coach, get in the life book. Also, don't forget about evaluating things like sleep habits. Right? Just our lifestyle habits have such a big role in this. I notice that my body doesn't look the same if I don't get good sleep, if I'm not well rested and things like that. So anyway, hopefully that steers you in the right direction, but it sounds like you're on your way.
I love that. Awesome, Dr. JC. And you were right. I think, those basic habits of health are so powerful, and you've got to be patient. It takes time to turn that ship around. But at the same time, you mentioned Dr. Marianne with her endocrinology. She may have something else to add. So we're going to toss it over to you, Dr. Marianne.
So I don't know how old Elaine is, but Elaine, if you're a woman over 35 and you might be either in perimenopause or menopause, one of the most important hormones that really contributes to belly fat is lower estrogen levels. And I like to think of estrogen as the traffic cop. When we have a lot of estrogen before we hit menopause, it's so fabulous because it tells fat to be distributed evenly all across our body. But as the estrogen levels dip, unfortunately, the default is for fat to go in the belly and the hips and our bottoms. So we start getting that midsection fat. So that's one of the things is you could check your estrogen levels and see where it's at. And if it's on the low side, if it's on the decline, exclamation points next to everything that Dr. JC highlighted, which is women over 35 really have to start prioritizing protein. I always suggest doing some weight training at least 2 or 3 times a week. And the sleep is absolutely crucial. And another thing is our stress management, because the second hormone that is very sneaky that causes belly fat, or what I call the meno belly, is cortisol.
We got Sarah who just asked the question, what part does cortisol play in weight loss? Can you just elaborate on that just a little bit?
Absolutely. So when we are stressed, and let's face it, we have the most distracted society that we've ever had. You could literally look on your phone at any moment, 24/7, and something could stress you out. And so the initial response when the cortisol goes up is glucose also goes up. And that is going to both cause more belly fat. And so the better we manage how we react to stress and control those cortisol spikes and the glucose spikes, you're going to have less deposition of fat in the belly.
Yes, absolutely. That is powerful. We want to avoid those glucose spikes at all costs, keep things level and steady. That's why Dr. Anderson, that's why the fuelings are so amazing, because they do keep your blood glucose down so we don't have those spikes. And the response of the pancreas secreting insulin is so much less, and that's a fat storing hormone. So if we're not using as much, if we don't have as much insulin going on in our system, we aren't storing that fat. JC, did you have something you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, this is a really cool, I really wore this shirt because it represents health professionals that are doing something highly abnormal. And we're talking about like creating health here. So I just love the space that we're in right now, because it reminds us that lifestyle is not just this thing that causes problems, right? If you look at Dr. A's system, we've got the fueling system, but we've got the habits of health system. And there's a lot of stuff in there on mindfulness. So I just want to share something from a chiropractic perspective, because we like to talk about optimization a lot. And ask yourself right now how you define health. How would you know if you're healthy? Is it because of the scale? Well, Elaine will tell you that it's not the scale, right? Because she doesn't like her belly fat, right? But I came up with my best answer of how you'll know that you're healthy, and it will be measured by the degree to which you handle adversity. So you just heard Marianne talk about how important it is to recognize that stress plays a role on your health. So when you get healthy, recognize that you're in a better position to handle stress. Think about what stress did to you before you went on this program. Even after day one on this program, you're handling stress better. So it just sheds some light on how important it is to work on your lifestyle and that mindfulness component.
I love that. Love that. Because with that habits of health system that we have, that's in place to help us do just that, what you just said, to handle stress, to manage our emotions better. And if you ever have gone through your life book, and here's a clue, success leaves clues. People who actually get into their life book and their habits of health book and study those and actually put the pen to the page and write in it, going through elements 4 and 5 and 16, 23, all of them are amazing. But those especially are about the emotional agility that we need to handle stress. They are the ones that are successful.
Yeah.
Way beyond those that don't. And so if you haven't yet allowed yourself to enjoy that process, now's the time to do it. And someone just asked in the chat, how do you get rid of those cortisol levels? How do you decrease cortisol levels? And we are taught in the habits of health system how to do that with Dr. A. Stop, breathe, challenge, choose, like learning how to navigate that breathing and technique. And the next week, we're going to be talking about the WinZoom on our Monday night webinar. The WinZoom, we practice breathing every single day on the WinZoom. It's a powerful tool that can help you release stress, that can help you calm down in a minute. And so anyway, just some tips that might help. Dr. Marianne, here's another one that you might want to answer. And this is regarding the amount of calories that are in our Optavia fuelings. Sometimes people, this comes, I think, from Peggy from last week. Some people are concerned because of the low amount of calories in the 5-in-1 plan for Optavia, and they want to know why that is, if that's healthy.
This is a question that I often am asked, and I'm sure a lot of Optavia coaches have to answer this question as well. And I'm going to start by saying I'm reading a book right now called The Lies I Taught in Medical School. And for anybody who wants to read it, it's by Dr. Robert Lufkin. He is actually a professor at UCLA, teaching at the medical school. And he goes to say a calorie has always been taught as to be equal, whether it's from protein, carbs, or fats. And that's just a big fat lie. And so to begin with, let's just say I give you 300 calories of medium fries at McDonald's or a glazed donut at Dunkin' Donuts versus one of the Lean and Green Optavia recipes, salmon and vegetables, which is also 300 calories. With the fries or with the donut, because it has very little nutritional value, you're going to be hungry in about 10 minutes. Your glucose is first going to spike, and then it's going to drop like a rock. You're going to be hungry and crave more food, and you're not going to be satisfied. On the other hand, 300 calories of salmon and vegetables is going to provide about 40 grams of protein, 10 grams of healthy fats. You are going to feel nourished. You're going to have steady energy. You're going to get all the minerals and vitamins. And so this is the thing. Very low calorie diets are defined as being somewhere between 800 to 1200 calories. We fall into that category as a 5-in-1 plan. And the main important thing to remember is that it is only safe to be on a very low calorie diet if it has A, been designed by a medical team, and B, you have oversight. And guess what? You have both with the Optavia 5-in-1 plan, because it was designed not only by Dr. Anderson, but he also collaborated with the best nutritionists and dietitians and scientists to put together this program. And your oversight is your coach, so that if you feel like you're struggling, they can help you adjust things and troubleshoot. So I have never had any problems with any of my clients on a 5-in-1 plan when they are continuing to be in touch with me.
Love that. Love that. And, you know, the fact that it does create a light controlled fat burning state
Yeah.
means that we are tapping into that, which allows us to utilize all the fat storage for our additional caloric and energy needs. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I was going to say something. I did a lecture one time which was very, very scary. I did a lecture at a hospital one time, and there was like 40 doctors, or I should say 40 know-it-alls in the crowd. And we were on this topic, and I asked a question like, who thinks this is not enough food or something like that? And they're like, all their hands raised. And I will tell you that at least 70% of those hands were attached to bodies that needed the program. But anyway, what I explained to them is just what Jan said. And a lot of people overlook this. So first of all, whatever calories you're taking in on your program, you're getting that ample nutrition. That's what makes it unique. And that highlights what Marianne just said. But you're not just eating that, because first of all, you're burning off your glycogen in the first phase for those of you that go into fat burn. And just like Jan said, when you the reason why you feel so good in fat burn is not because it's like magic, right? It feels like magic. It's because when you start burning fat, it's like the most awesome fuel there is. So in reality, you're eating almost as much as you used to eat, some of you, but you're just getting half of it from your body. So that's something that people forget about. So it's kind of weird to say, but no, you're eating yourself as well.
I love that.
And then also, just so you know, I lost my weight about 19 years ago. Can I say how much? Do we have like so
yeah.
I lost 80 pounds. So this is why I don't care what anybody says, right? I usually wear a shirt that says breaking news, I don't care, because I lost 80 pounds in this program almost 20 years ago and have kept it off. So it's important for you to know I'm still using Optavia right now with a focus on lean muscle mass, but my coach has helped me see that I need probably about 2,600 calories right now to accommodate my workout. So Optavia comes in all shapes and sizes. She was referring to the 5-in-1.
I love that. Oh my gosh. So that helped so much. Mike asked that question about the decreased calories as well. So there were a couple people that asked that. And somebody, I think it was Jeanette, put in the chat, and we're delicious too, since we're eating ourselves. I love it. Okay, I got one here from Maria. Let's go back to Dr. Marianne. Why is the food noise so strong in our minds? Besides GLPs, what is the best way to quiet the food noise?
The best GLP-1 hack is protein. That's the main thing. So if you want to feel satiated and quiet the noise, it is going to be with protein. And if anyone is on a GLP-1, I know how difficult it is to get in the right amount of protein, which is why sometimes it's easier to drink in a shake form than to actually eat it. And that's totally fine. But that's where I really feel like Optavia as a health company is taking the lead on this particular topic. And we have the most support tools for someone on a GLP-1 than any other health program out there. And I feel really, really good about that. In addition, with the EAAs as well. But the food noise is also going to be quieted the more and the longer you stay away from the sweets or whatever it is that your trigger is, because it is an addiction. And there's a whole chapter on that in the Life book, especially sugar addiction. It is as strong, if not stronger than cocaine.
I was having a conversation with a client today about that, and we were talking about just like that. He was telling me what he did at some party or something, and I said, you probably would have been better off if you had just done some drugs. So we talk a lot about our fuelings and what they do for our body, but sugar is fuel for food noise, if you want to look at it that way. So when you go off program and you say, oh, it was tough. I was with my mother and my sister, and it was just really hard. We understand that, but add to that equation that when you go off, it's not just going off and affecting the scale, it's also adding to the food noise. So what she just said is so important. And our program works very well at quieting food noise, but you have to get a little bit of consistency going. I know that when I reactivate my program, that night, after just doing one day of program, I feel a touch of confidence. I feel a little bit of excitement. So just imagine if you just string together 7 days, sure, the scale's going to move and that's a lot of fun, but the best part is what happens in your mind.
So true. Love that. So good, you guys. Okay. I'm just going to swing it over to this one's I'm going to combine Stacy and I'm not sure how to say that. Rahin. They talk about weight training. Like JC, when do you know when you're ready for strength training, and what would that mean exactly? Arms, legs, define what you mean by weight training.
This is a great question. And when I started back in the gym, I had a lot of injuries. I had shoulder pain. For those of you that are not, accustomed to resistance training, it's very important that you speak to somebody. It'd be great if you had some sort of a, maybe your coach can guide you. I had somebody that kind of eased me into the process. So in my opinion, work this out with your coach, but as soon as you stabilize on the program, this is how important lean muscle mass is. Look at all the data says that it's the #1 predictor of longevity right now. So as soon as you stabilize on the program and also recognize you might have to modify the program, that's what Optavia's got all these great tools. You might need some muscle support in it. I like the idea of beginning light and just working your way into it. And it's going to be uncomfortable at first because it's new. And some of you, like me, might have some aches and pains, but just hang in there and just, ease into increasing the tension as you go. And I can tell you at 53 years old, I have 2 huge boys. and they're both athletes. One of them's a hockey player, the other one plays basketball, and I can bench press more than them now. But I took a long time to work up to that. And it's probably just because I'm more dedicated than my kids. But so ease into the process and get guidance from someone that knows what they're talking about.
Great advice. Okay, we're getting close to time, but I have one more that I want to share with Dr. Mary Ann, and this is from Kathy. Is it true or false that once you start on thyroid meds, you must take them forever?
Ooh, I may not be able to answer that in the next minute, but I'll do my best. It really depends on what your hormone levels are. There are some people who are diagnosed with the beginning phase of thyroid disease, and they actually can go off their medication, but that is a case-by-case situation.
Okay, that's good. Good that, we always are in touch with our physicians, and they are the ones that help to navigate the medications, right? I love that. Oh my gosh, you guys, this has been so good. I hate it to be done. We got to a lot of the questions though in the Q&A. I appreciate that so much, Dr. JC and Dr. Mary Ann. Both of you, thank you so very much. Appreciate you so much. And I'm so excited that there is such a good percentage. I think it's like a third of all Optavia coaches now are healthcare professionals that are seeing the way to actually creating optimal health rather than just managing disease. So thank you both so much. We appreciate you. And everyone, just remember that we're not only just streaming live, but we also have a podcast channel right here. It's called Let's Talk. And be sure you're subscribed to that and invite your friends and family to jump in and be part of Let's Talk. And like I mentioned earlier, we have a treat next week. It's all about the WinZoom for the win. And if you've never experienced a WinZoom, you got to come and see what it's all about, because people who are in the WinZoom, we have seen that they are sticking with their programs. They're shutting down the food noise. They're feeling amazing. They're reaching and sustaining their goals. It's amazing to watch people transform before our very eyes on the WinZoom. So don't miss out next week. It's going to be packed with lots of fun and surprises. So we'll see you all next week on Let's Talk. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. Good night, everybody.